Hello, welcome to Sunny Sanctuary. Today is all about yoga blocks. Let's learn how to use these babies, shall we? Please join me by taking Uttana Shoshasana with blocks, which is basically wide leg child's pose using yoga blocks. Let's get a little creative. Some of these will be variations. Please come down onto your heels if possible. I'm gonna put my blocks side by side. You'll see why in one moment. This is a different type of child's pose. Walk yourself down, but you're gonna put your elbows on top of the block, hands together. Make sure that your elbows are towards the edge of the block without falling off. And then slowly bring your head down in between your arms. Once your head is down, bring your hands toward your neck. And breathe nice and slow. Because you just woke up your arms. Nice and slow. Everything is in and out the nose. One last breath. Bring your hands down. Bring one hand down to help stabilize you. Bring your other hand down. Walk yourself back. Automatically bring your blocks behind you. Hip distance apart. I'm still on the lower side of the block. Adho Mukha Savasana, moving into downward facing dog. Only our feet are going to be on the blocks. Join me. We're going to come up. Want you to put your foot firmly on the block, knees still on the ground. Slowly lift up and put your feet on the block. And your upper body is going towards your lower body and your hips are piking up. If you cannot have your feet all the way down, no worries. Slight bend of your knee like this works. Now, as I bend my knee, I am moving my upper half towards my lower half. If you'd like to go deeper in your knees, do the same thing and bring in your chest. Arms are fully activated. Either one of those, whether it's this one, or this one, hold for 3 more breaths. Shoulders are moving down away from your ears, but without pressure. We're going to slowly come off the block, one foot, the next foot. We're going to roll ourselves up, one vertebrae at a time, or your shoulders down and your arms fall open. Ita Uttanasana. I'm going to walk up towards my blocks. I like this pose actually. Be a little bit ways away from your block, feet hip distance. You're going to roll yourself down, both hands on the block. I'm on the lowest position. Lift onto the toes of your left foot. Swing your right hand up and breathe. If you can look at your right hand, great. If not, look down at the blocks. Once you bring your hand back around, place it on your block and put your heel back down. Straight to the next foot. Go ahead and lift up to your toes on your right leg and sweep your left arm up. Look up at your hand if you can and breathe. Bring your hand around, put it down on the blocks. Take one quick breath. And roll yourself back up to standing. Utthita Ashwa Shanshu Lasana, which is a lunge. A lot of bend in the knees. Pick up your blocks, one on each side. I'm going to step to the back of my mat. I'm going to start with my right leg. I'm going to bring my blocks with me, and I'm going to step forward. If I step forward, both your feet will face towards the front because you're going to go up on your toes of the leg in the back. Shorter distance, less intense. Wider distance, more intense. To bend into your front foot, right, minus my right front foot. Toes are going, got to get the yogi toes active. I'm up on the ball mount of my left foot. I have a deep bend in my front knee, slight bend in my back knee, and I'm going to start to come down into my lunge. I can actually move my leg back a little bit further and let yourself just drop into your hips. Oh yes, you're going to feel this. Your hips is where I would like you to feel this. Please make sure you're not hunched up like this. If you need to hunch up, instead of hunching up, pick your blocks up to the higher side and bring your leg in. I'd rather you have the integrity of the posture to avoid you being hurt. Make sure your knee is tracking forward along with your foot. Breathe. You can focus on your dristi, which is just below your nose. One more breath. And we're going to switch. However, it's going to be, make sure you have hold of both your blocks, meaning your hands are fully on your blocks, because we're going to a slight plank for 1 moment. No piking up the hips, bring them down. Press into the blocks, open up your shoulders. Bend your legs a little bit and bring your left foot to the front. You're on the ball mount of your right foot, all toes down. Bring yourself down. Breathe. One last breath. We're gonna go ahead and get ready to come out. We're gonna come back out in plank. Hold for 1 breath. And go ahead and walk your feet gently towards the front near your blocks. Anjaliasana, foot on block. So I'm going to take 1 block and put it to the side. I only need 1 block at a time. I am going to first do my stance. Further back, more challenge, closer up, less. You're gonna come down on your knee. Yep. Yes, there was a pop. Woo. Come down on your knee, guide your foot towards the back of your mat. Just like I just did with assistance, make sure your foot is fully on the block before you start to move into this asana. In this asana, you're going to put your hands on either side of your foot. You're going to start to walk towards the front of the mat. Hands meet the block. You can tent your hands up like this. The goal is that you're opening into your hips. Let your hips drop. Your knee in the front is tracking towards the front with your foot. If you need modification, those in position, please stay in position. You can come up, interlace your hands, put them on top just above your knee, and come down like this. Your back foot, you want it to be flush to the mat. 3 breaths. Slowly start to bring your hands down. Walk yourself back and, like me, bring your foot gently behind you. Move your block to the right side. It will make it easier. We're pretty much already in position. You can bring your right foot around. Yes, with assistance, like me. Make sure your foot is fully on the block. Your back leg, that foot is flush to the mat. Start to come down slowly but surely. Bring yourself down. You can tent your fingers. You want to make sure you're on either side. Each hand is on either side of the block. And let your hips sink lower. Again, if you need a modification, this time interlace your hands the opposite way. And you could be up on your knee, right hands below the knee, and go into the asana as well. 3 breaths. Make sure your hips are facing the front. If you need to come up and kind of move them towards the front a little bit, be very gentle. And then after you feel like they're facing the front, go back into the asana. Please do not adjust while you're in the asana. Last breath. Slowly start to bring yourself back. Come down and bring your foot around. We need both blocks this time. Stack them together this way, put them down flat. Bahamanasana, tabletop but with the blocks. So go ahead and start to bring your arms down, elbows down. At the very end of the block, your arms are secure. Knees are underneath of hips, hip distance apart, feet are flush to the mat. Let your hands hang down. Your core is tucked in, your pelvis is tucked in, and you are fully engaged. Let's take a few breaths here. And a lot of this, what you should feel is your elbows that are kind of digging into the blocks and extending out all through your upper arms, up through your shoulders. Last breath. Lolasana Hasta Bongoli is the next pose. So gently bring yourself up, one hand on a block, then the other. Bring yourself back to kneeling. Bring the blocks. I will do this from a forward view first. This is not an easy asana to get into. So I'm going to show you some variations. Not an easy asana, so if you have to skip it, knee issues, please do skip it. Issues with ankles, please do skip it. Blocks on the lower end. I'm gonna move up just a little bit. Blocks on the lower end going more towards your hips. You're gonna place both hands on the block, and what you're gonna do is with the weight going through your hands, you're gonna start to lift your knees up towards your body. Now you may be able to only get this high up. You may be able to only put this much pressure. You may be able to only get this far. That's okay. It's a start, and we love a start. You may be able to only bring up a little bit. That's okay. We love a start. You may be able to come up further. Either way, deep breaths in and out. One last one, and slowly start to come down. Put your hands on top of your thighs for one breath. Utkatasana Hasta. Chair pose with blocks. Put your blocks on the top height. Gently come up. And we're going to start to go back into chair. Go so far back that you can actually reach the blocks. Now I'm going to turn to the side. I'm going to put the blocks down. My feet or within the 2 blocks, and I'm bringing my hips back. Tuck your tailbone in, elongate your back, and I'm coming down and bringing my hips, my bottom, down like I was getting ready to sit in a chair till I reach the blocks, straight back, and breathe. Drop your shoulders away from your ears. Be gentle. Keep breathing, use your drishti. Remember, you don't want to be bending forward like this. You want to be going back. Your upper leg should be on fire. Gently roll yourself up, let the blocks go. And roll your shoulders down. Come take a seat with me. Get there how you feel comfortable. I'm okay with coming down into kneeling. But what I would like you to do is bring your feet around. Put the blocks down. I'm going to put them side by side like this again. Each foot goes on a block. Remove the fleshy part from underneath you. Should be on your sits bones. Toes facing your face. Hands at your sides. Knees not being forced straight, but if they're able just to hang out, no pressure. Hands go behind you, fingertips facing the back, and sit yourself up, shoulders open. Keep your toes flexed towards you. Fill your chest up with air and let it out. We're here for 5 breaths. What you're doing is making sure your heels are into the blocks and the heels of your hands are into the yoga mat. That's the main 2 points of contact you should feel in this asana. 2 more breaths. To come out, gently lean back, bring one foot in and then the other. We're going to move ourselves down just a little bit. One on each side of you. I'm going to go to a higher level. Lower levels, less intense. Highest level, most intense. Your elbows start to come behind you. Your feet are, your legs are straight. Slight bend is fine. Toes are flexed. Use the blocks and you're going to bring yourself up. 3 breaths. Hold. You're going to feel most of this in your arms. Don't slouch. Keep yourself straight up. 2 more breaths. Come on, you got this, you got this, you got this. Last breath, last breath, last breath. Slowly come down. Ooh, wiggle out your wrist. Wiggle out your wrist. Great job. It is time to roll over on our backs. Take your blocks with you. I'm gonna move towards the front of my mat. You need 1 block. I'm gonna set 1 block off to the side. Shendu Baha Sharvangasana. Supported bridge. Again, this one's gonna be up to you. Low, medium, high. We're gonna sit down, we're gonna roll ourselves back slowly onto our backs. Tilt your pelvic bone up. Feet hip distance apart. Use your heels to bring your hips up. And depending on how high you are comfortable with going, you wanna make sure your block is right where your sits bone and your spine meet. Bring your feet down. Roll your shoulders up and underneath you and put your hands beside you. If you can, bring your feet in and touch. If not, no worries. Make sure your chest stays open and breathe. Slight tuck in the chin so you're not scrunching your neck. The block isn't going to move, so you can put your weight on it. This is going to help with opening up through the front part of your body, your chest, your shoulders, all of those wonderful things. Take a few more breaths. To come out of this pose, please pick yourself up just slightly on your toes and bring the block down and gently roll your back down. We're only going to be here for 1 beat. We're still laying down. We have our block with us. We're moving into Adha Pavan Mukasana. I recommend if you're just starting out that you start on the lowest half. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to lift your knees are still bent. Lift yourself up. You're going to put your block right where your psoas meet your lower spine. I'm going to put mine on the middle part, the middle side of the block. I'm going to bring my hands down to the side. My knees are still bent. I'm going to slowly start to bring in my left leg. I'm going to interlock my hands around my shin. I'm going to bring my right leg all the way down. Flex both your feet towards your face. Let your arms fall heavy. Tuck your chin and breathe. This is not an easy asana, so if your back is bothering you, please skip it. You can actually still do it, but be on the floor. So if you need to be on the floor, you can still get benefit from doing this or being on the floor. Take 2 more breaths for me. Slowly let your hands go. Put them down beside you. Bring your left foot down. Bring up your right. Now we're going to switch automatically. Start to bring up your right foot going towards you. Interlace your hands. Slowly bring your foot out, your left foot out. Gently put it down. Both feet flex towards the face. Breathe. Like tuck in your chin. Last breath. Bring your left foot in, slide it in. Put your hands down beside you and let your right leg come down to meet your left. But we're not done because we're going to go straight into shoulder stance. Stay in the same position. Want you one by one. First, let's get set up. Shoulders, tuck them slightly underneath you. Tuck the chin down. Grip into the mat. You're going to bring one foot in, bring your left foot in. Bring your right foot to meet your left. If this is enough, stay here. If you would like to join me, you can slowly bring your legs straight up. Flex your toes towards your face. Breathe. I will say if you start going down, there's more intensity here. Last breath. We're going to slowly, one by one, bring our legs down. There we are. Slide your block from underneath you. Take a breath here. That was a lot of work on our back. Gently rock and roll yourself up to seated. Give ourselves a nice little massage against the mat. Come up to seated. I'm going to turn and face you. We're going to go into Gomukhasana, which is cow facing pose with the block. This block along the side of your hip. Right foot on top of left foot. Feet face the front to be less intense. Bring your feet towards you. Still try to flex your feet towards your body. More intense. Bring your feet out. The most important part is not the intensity as it is making sure that you are trying to get your knees to stack on top of each other. I'm going to say further out, but the glory is that you're going to put your right hand on top of your thigh. You're just going to slowly tilt. Now, your hip, your sits bones need to stay anchored to the mat. That is important. So if you're starting to lean and it's lifting up, bring the block closer to you, which is less intense. Further out, a little more intense. I'm going to put my elbow on the block and I'm just going to tilt my head down and I'm going to look up. Having my shoulders roll open. I'm not going forward. I'm not slouching back. I'm just sitting upright, looking up. If the looking up bothers your neck, you can always look straight ahead. And breathe. We're getting ready to move to the other side. Gently bring yourself back up, both hands down beside you. And I want you to come uncrisscrossed. We're going to bring the right leg under, bring the left leg on top. That's how easy that is to transition. And I'm gonna hold myself up using my right hand so that it can help me guide and bring the block around. Again, closer, less intense. Again, I'm going to now take my left hand, put it on my leg, and have my right elbow come down on the block. The block is sturdy, and bring my head down. And just breathe. Again, if your hip's coming up like mine, I'm gonna go ahead, I can feel it coming up, I'm gonna go ahead and move closer. Flex your toes, flex your toes, flex your toes. They should be saying hi to each other. Okay, I'm gonna slowly put my hand down, move myself back up. Untwist my legs because we're moving into Malasana. You only need one block for this Malasana. The easiest way to come down into Malasana when you're using a block, I usually go on the medium height, most comfortable height. You can go lower if you need to. I'm gonna come around, and as I'm gonna bring myself up to a slight forward bend with bent knees and start to bring my bottom down to the block. Feet, 45-degree angle, sit yourself upright. You can bring your feet in if you need to. In, less intense. Out, more intense. Either way, keep your feet as a 45-degree angle. Bring your hands together. Your elbows are going to go right on the inner part of your thighs, below your knees. Allow this to be a yin and yang. What do I mean? As your elbows are helping to open your hips, let your legs give some resistance. And so that is waking up more of all of the muscles in your entire arm. Breathe. In and out, come on. You guys are doing great. Last breath. Great job. Bring your hands down. We're going to move around into hero pose. You can use one block or two. I will show you both. I'm going to come around into kneeling. That is the best way for me to get into hero pose. For hero, I'm going to turn around, face the back so you can see for yourself the way traditional hero looks. Your knees are going towards each other, but are hip distance apart. your legs are going out in a V, and you would just bring your bottom down in between. With blocks though, completely more accessible, I promise. With one block, you would simply put the block down in between your hamstrings and bring yourself down onto the block, just like that. Have your feet flush to the mat, and we're gonna sit and take some deep breaths in and out. If you need to be higher up at a block, make sure they're stacked, then bring yourself down. This is less intense. Either way, hands down on your thighs and take some deep breaths. Roll your shoulders back and down. Be gentle with your shoulders. 2 more breaths. Now we come into our final asana, Baddha Konasana. We're gonna do supported butterfly. Let yourself come up. Move the blocks away from underneath of you. Use them if you need to come down in a seated pose. We're flat on the mat. Yes. Put your blocks right around your knees. You're going to bring your feet together, further out, diamond shape, less intense, and you just slide your blocks right under your knees and hold on to your shins, or let your hands rest on your thighs. You do not have to push your legs down. You can go to any variation of putting your legs further down into your knees are fully on the blocks. For me, I'm gonna go a little bit more intense. Anybody is welcome to join me. I'm gonna bring my feet in towards my body. I'm gonna adjust my feet. I'm gonna allow my knees to fall on the blocks. Interlace my fingers, bend down and cup them around my feet, and bring myself up. Let my legs just fall open. The blocks aren't gonna go anywhere. You can rock side to side if that feels good to you. We're just gonna take some nice inhales and exhales, this time in the nose and out the mouth. Again, rocking back and forth is whatever makes you comfortable. In and out. 2 more. Fill up your chest and let it out. Last time, and I'm gonna move to steady. And with that, I'd like you to have your hands come around the outside of your knees and bring your knees together. Take your blocks, move them to the side, and come into a crisscross position. You can be in half locust, you can be in full locust, you can be regular crisscross, or just sitting down, whatever makes you comfortable. Today, we learned a lot about these wonderful tools and how much they could really challenge your body. But think about this, they bring the floor up to you, making some of these poses much more accessible than they would be if you just tried to get down to the floor. I hope that you enjoyed today's practice and to see you again soon. Thank you for coming to Sunny's Sanctuary. Namaste.